What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your early Thursday evening / afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I just saw some of this news that just broke probably about half an hour ago. That, in a way, doesn't surprise me at all, but it looks to be the direction that the New York Giants are going to be approaching as they go into free agency when it comes to looking at other players at certain positions and what they might be looking for in terms of free agent targets. However we want to take this, and you can take this for a grain of salt if you want, but according to Matt Lombardo, he is told right now that the Giants are expecting to show significant interest in the linebacker market in free agency this upcoming offseason. And New York is expected to have approximately $42 million in cap space for this upcoming NFL offseason. So, in my opinion, it seems like the Giants are going to be obviously looking to pretty much lock up their players first. But then you look at some of the other players that they're going to be targeting in free agency. That seems to be the position that they're going to be targeting, and I'm not surprised at all one bit that that's the position they're going to look, that Joe Schoen and his team are going to look to target in free agency this offseason because of how poor the linebacker position was for the New York Giants this past season. Whether it was guys like Jalen Smith, guys like Austin Calitro that they had. Unfortunately, Darian Beavers tearing his ACL in training camp and preseason in the first game. And also some of the other guys that they brought in, it just has not worked out for this team at the linebacker position. And obviously, their focus is trying to take care of their own first. But you look at some of these impending free agents that are going to be coming out in free agency this year. You have players like Lavonte David, the longtime Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker. You also have Tremaine Edmunds, who's probably going to be the biggest free agent linebacker going into the market. David Long, who's been a quality linebacker for the Tennessee Titans this past couple of years. TJ Edwards and Kaiser White for the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. Leighten Vander Esch, Dallas Cowboys linebacker. Bobby Okereke from the Indianapolis Colts. And Germaine Pratt of the Cincinnati Bengals, just to name a few. What kind of contract are you going to be willing to give some of these guys when you hit free agency? That's the question right there. What kind of contracts are you going to be willing to give some of these guys when we get into free agency? I mean, obviously to me, Lavonte David and Tremaine Edmunds are the top two guys you're going to be looking at in terms of trying to sign in free agency. I've always been a fan of Lavonte David. I think he's strong against the run. He's very good against coverage. But at the same time, this guy is now a 30-plus-year-old linebacker, and he's going to be starting to get towards the downside of his career. Do the Giants really want to commit in big-time money for a guy that's probably on the downside of his career? I'm a little bit iffy on that one, as much as I like David, too. But I think I'd be a little bit cautious when it comes to giving him the type of money he is. 1-year deal, 2-year deal, maybe around $8 million a year. I think about it. Depends first on what happens with the rest of the free agents, but that's definitely one guy I'd have interest in. Obviously, I'd love to have Tremaine Edmunds, as a lot of other Giants fans would like to have. He is the number one guy. He's going into the prime of his career. He's at 86.9% in coverage grade so far this year. He's had forced an incompletion rate of 10.3% of targets that are coming his way. He's also had a 0.9 targets in his coverage, which is ninth among the linebackers. Edmunds also missed just 6.5% of tackles in the open field, which is the lower rate of his career and another huge sign of his continued growth and for Football Intelligence to play in terms of his recognition standpoint. He's coming into the prime of his career. He's only 25, 26 years old. This is a guy that you definitely want to look at, but he's going to be commanding a lot of money in free agency, and I don't know if the Giants are going to be willing to look to sign him. Then you also look at a guy like David Long, who I know I'm not the only one. Sevi Mizrahi, another New York Giants great content creator, has talked about this guy, David Long, for the Tennessee Titans. He's got an 89 grade overall in terms of his run defense in 2022, which ranked 4th among his position in the NFL this past season. And he was with 13 tackles for loss, or he had no game tied for 12th on the season. Long also plays a downhill attacking brand of football that helps him blow up a lot of plays, but also makes him particularly susceptible for overcommitting on play action passes. He's weak against the pass game. He's not very good in coverage overall. That's one of the biggest surprising things with him. Over his past 3 seasons, his 19.8 pass rush win rate and 23.8 pressure rate are both second best marks among off linebackers with at least 100 pass rush snaps in this span. He's a pass rusher, particularly from the middle linebacker position. Not really strong in coverage, which the Giants, I'm sure, are looking for a coverage linebacker in a way too, but that's something you got to look at. Would I give him around 8, 9, 10 million per year, maybe more? I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. TJ Edwards. This is what a lot of New York Giants fans are looking at in terms of a linebacker we could have interest in. I know my buddy Big Blue in the Bronx has been talking about TJ Edwards a lot from the Philadelphia Eagles. Edwards was brought back in 2022 on a 1-year, $2.15 million deal at his position, and they all but refused to invest in with the top capital or free agent dollars in many years. But Edwards may put the Eagles' positional value to test this offseason if you want to keep him around. He had a career year this past season. Yeah, he was very good this past year for the Eagles. With the second best grade among off-ball linebackers in the NFL this past season with an 84.4. And Edwards is also just one of just 4 linebackers to earn grades above 75% in run defense and coverage when he was generating 11 quarterback pressures on just 26 pass rush snaps as well. And the former undrafted free agent is in for a big pay raise this offseason after making absolute most out of a 1-year deal. He's going to get his money. Going into the prime of his career, I expect him to pretty much be a guy that's really going to command a lot of money this offseason, depending on what the Giants are going to do in terms of maybe signing him, because he's very good in terms of the run, and he played better in terms of the pass, but is he a one-hit wonder? Did he just play this well because he's going into free agency this year? We'll have to wait and see. Leighten Vander Esch. I like Vander Esch because he's a very good in terms of his overall grade as a linebacker in the middle. The problem with him is he always gets hurt. I'm very worried about him because of the fact he always gets hurt. And I'd be very concerned about giving this guy any type of long-term deal. A 1-2 year deal is at best what I would give for Vander Esch. I don't trust him to stay healthy throughout an entire season. I'm very, very iffy on what I want to do with Vander Esch. But he is a good player when he's healthy. He's solid against the run, decent against the pass. He's very good around the line of scrimmage. And he also set career highs in the missed tackle rate. So when he's in the middle of the field, he normally does not miss tackles, which is a good thing to have if you're a linebacker. Because the Giants, we know, struggled when it comes to making the tackles over the middle of the field at the linebacker position. So that's definitely a guy that you would think about, but I'm not committing long-term money for a guy that always is hurt. And I'll get to a couple of other guys. Bobby Okereke of the Indianapolis Colts, who stepped up in a major way in the absence of fellow Pro Bowl linebacker Shaquille Leonard, who was out pretty much a lot of the season due to injury. He stepped up with a 72.9 grade, ranking 23rd at his position. Okereke was also particularly stout against the run, with 13 defensive stops against the run, tied for 13th most, and Okereke is now coming off back-to-back seasons with at least 100 tackles and 50 defensive snaps. And the former third-round pick still has room to grow as a coverage player, but the problem is he's a very small linebacker at only 6'1" and 235. That's a problem when you're going against bigger offensive linemen. They're going to push up when they're engaging in the run game or even pass protecting. That could get him lost into the shovel against some of these bigger offensive linemen, and he's going to have trouble disengaging from some of these guys trying to get to the outside to make the tackles. But he moves well enough in space to not be a liability in coverage. He's quick. He's quicker, but I worry about him against bigger offensive linemen. I don't know if I'd be willing to commit big dollars to him too, but you're talking about a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, maybe around $6-7 million, around maybe 8 tops. I'd think about it. And then Germaine Pratt from the Cincinnati Bengals, with both starting safeties and Jesse Bates and Von Bell pending free agents, and a big extension for wide receiver T. Higgins, likely to play and fellow off-ball linebacker Logan Wilson also eligible for extension after this season. It's possible Pratt hits the open market even after a career year, where Pratt had a 90.1 career coverage grade, which was the best mark in the NFL. He's obviously excellent in terms of covering the tight ends and wide receivers in the middle of the field. He missed just 2 tackles in coverage and allowed only 4 explosive receptions. Pratt didn't miss many tackles as a run defender either, whiffing on just 5.9% of opportunities after 3 straight seasons above 10% to start his career. Last but certainly not least, Pratt also peaked at the right time when it came to his overall coverage grade with a 90.1 since week 8, which was top amongst linebackers in the middle. That's interesting in itself, right there. So, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with that whole situation and what linebacker the Giants might be looking to target and who's going to be the best overall guy that's going to fit Wink Martindale's defensive system. You're going to need somebody to be able to control the middle of the defense because a lot of good defenses have a middle linebacker who's not only smart but can move side to side very well, play against the run solid, and most importantly, be able to cover the tight end, which has been the Achilles heel of the New York Giants overall. That has been the Achilles heel of the Giants for a very long time. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. And just before I go, late breaking news that actually just popped on while I'm making this video. This should come as no surprise to anybody. According to Ian Rappaport of NFL.com and NFL Network, the New York Giants will tag Saquon Barkley, running back Saquon Barkley, this season if, and that's a big if, they can come to a long-term extension agreement with quarterback Daniel Jones. So, if the Giants could get an extension done with Daniel Jones, then expect Saquon Barkley to be back in 2023. That's it. We only have a few days left until the tag period is over. If the Giants can't get an extension done with Jones, they're going to tag Jones and take their chances with Saquon Barkley. But, and this is not surprising at all, this should be shocking to nobody, if they can reach in a long-term extension with Daniel Jones on a long-term deal, they will tag Saquon Barkley to the franchise tag, which will pay him a little over $10 million this coming season. And the Giants will have until mid-July to work out a long-term extension with Barkley or let him play out the franchise tag in 2023 and then go into next season, see if they can work out a long-term deal with Barkley, depending on how he looks this coming season. But that's just a little bit of a preview. I wanted to give you guys some of the news that's dropping around the New York Giants that, according to Matt Lombardo, the Giants plan to be aggressive and look to try and engage the free agent market in terms of the linebacker position in free agency. And the Giants are right now projected to have at least $42 million in cap space going into the 2023 offseason, depending on what happens with Daniel Jones, with Saquon Barkley, with Julian Love, and some of their other pending free agents that are going to be hitting the open market in the next couple of weeks. And the Giants are planning on tagging running back Saquon Barkley if they can reach a long-term deal with quarterback Daniel Jones before the March 7th NFL franchise tag deadline. Let me know in the comment section what you think about all these news, and let me know which linebackers you would like to see the New York Giants target in free agency that you not only think would be the best fit for Wink Martindale's defense and the system, and who you have the best interest in the New York Giants signing this offseason that would be the perfect ideal guy to be able to anchor the middle of that defense for the New York Giants in the 2023 NFL season. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants, as always. Together Blue, everyone.